Alright, welcome back combatants to another video where we engage in combat on a board. So our last video we went over the very basics of the game. We have the board setup, how the pieces move, and we even had a quick game showing just exactly how those pieces move. Really simple, really easy. Today we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go over two things that are going to help you understand a little bit more how to play the game of chess. So let's get into it right away and let's spill some blood on the 64 squares. So this is a game I played against a 1500 rated bot on chess.com. Now, I like playing these bots that are a little bit higher than my rating. I find that I learn a lot playing from a higher rated bot than I am. So this is around 300 ELO higher than myself. That's what I like to do. I like to practice against higher rated bots. That way when I play a game against a human, I try to bring in some of that stuff that I've learned from there. So let's just get started with this game. So it started off pretty simple. Now there's two things that we're going to go over here today. We're going to go over captures, okay, and then not leaving your pieces hanging. My goodness, that has been one of the most annoying things about my games, is not realizing I leave pieces hanging. I've been working really hard on that. As that Chessly program, that training program that I've got, it's also been teaching me how to not leave your pieces hanging, how to remember, how to kind of get into that mindset, you know. So that's what I've been working on there, and it's actually been really helping. So we started off. Now here's the position right here where we can have our first capture. As in the last video, pawns, they capture diagonally. It's kind of like a side stab, if you want to look at it like that. So that's what I did. I took there. Now this pawn is actually pretty safe. The queen can't come get it because my bishop is guarding that piece. So we go on. Here I attack the queen with the knight. Now my idea here was, even if the queen moves, I'm going to grab the bishop, put the king into check. But that was not what the bot had in mind. So it puts me into check, so I retreated, and then they retreated back to the same spot. Okay, so we continue on here for a bit. Now I used my pawn to attack this bishop. This bishop's gotta go. And he retreated. So continuing on. Now here's an interesting setup right here. This pawn can't move, because if that pawn moves, then I'm going to capture it with my bishop. So I tried to make that happen. Didn't look like it was going to happen, so we got to change up the strategy. Alright, so now this knight's coming in here. I wasn't going to let that happen. Now you see that setup that I kind of wanted to go after the queen with my bishop? Alright, check this out. That was the plan. That queen isn't moving, so I'm continuing on with that plan. Okay, now it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but check this out. Now the queen is back in basically the same position. So does the queen move? The queen doesn't move. So the bishop, remember from last video, the bishop attacks diagonally. Now what can you see here in this position? Many moves ago, that was what I was trying to get at. Somehow getting rid of this pawn so my bishop can come after the queen. Well, this bot set me up pretty good. Okay, check out this next move. Boom. Got the pawn, attacking the queen. My queen is protecting the bishop. Now, what else can you see here? Not only is this bishop attacking the queen, the bishop is attacking the rook at the same time. Beautiful. Things went my way. That's what I was planning. Alright, now the queen moves over. Possible queen trade. I felt, yeah, this is worth it. So I took the queen. They took my queen. Got the bishop in the end. That was what I wanted. I got the queen. Even though we traded queens, I still am up a rook. So continuing on, now I'm pinning this piece to the king. That king can't move without, pardon me, the knight can't move. The king can. So we're going like this, putting the king into check. All right, check again. King moves there. Boom, checkmate. That's what I wanted to see happen, and I got it. So you saw how there was a small plan within a plan that I had. I wanted that pawn queen lineup. I wanted that. I could see it. I could taste it. So I wanted to get it, and we got it. There was a few other moves in between that we had to accomplish first, but it happened. And boom, got the queen, got the rook afterwards. So it was all good. So you saw how the pieces moved. You saw the captures. Remember, pawns, diagonal capture, side stab, all right? Then you have the bishops, more like a long lance, you know? You can get those pieces from a far distance away. Remember that. Now you see, there wasn't too many mistakes. Of course, there's always going to be mistakes in gameplay. I am, you know, only a 1200. But I'm training and I'm having a lot of fun at this. So always have a plan. Small plan, plan within a plan. Because your game plan at the end, you want to have that come to fruition. So if you have smaller plans in the way, going toward the bigger plan, that's the way to do it. That's the way to have a game that you're going to be happy with and you're going to have success with. So remember, captures. You got to go diagonal with the pawns. The bishops, diagonal on their own color. Of course, there's other pieces that capture, but I just wanted to get those two things clear. Those are actually really powerful pieces. Pawns, don't look at a pawn as a nothing, whatever piece that you can just, bleh, whatever, throw it away. Pawns are powerful. You know how to use your pawns, man, you're going to have a great game. Don't think pawns are nothing, okay? All right, now the second thing that I want to talk about was leaving your pieces hanging. I can't tell you how many times I have done this in games. I've played hundreds of games. And you know, most of the time when I've lost a game, it's because I left a piece hanging. And it could be any piece. It could be a pawn, any piece. Doesn't matter what it is. If you get down a piece, yes, you can still win. There's no doubt about that. But it's just that much more work and it's just that much harder for you to win the game. When you really didn't need to lose that game at all. Remember where your pieces are. Now this takes practice. Don't get me wrong. This takes practice. But remember where your pieces are. You move your bishop to the end of the board. That's where I find that I have the most trouble. Moving my piece right to the end of the board, you know, thinking correctly that I've got a long diagonal. It can see all the squares pretty much to the end of the board. That's a great position. However, many times I forgot about that piece at the end of the board. I'm concentrating maybe on the upper right hand corner, whatever the case may be, and then I lose that piece. And it's devastating. So remember, try not to leave your pieces hanging. Remember where they are. Do a full scan of the board. Every move, do a full scan of the board. Is there anything that is in danger? That has helped me. There are other strategies out there that can help you. We're going to talk about that more. Thanks so much for being with me today. I hope you learned something. Get out there and spill some blood on the 64 squares. We'll talk to you later.